I feel like I have to run more next year. I'm open to running more next year just because it's such a weapon. It's such a weapon. It's defense is. It's like when I hand the ball off. Obviously, I hand the ball off to James, so it's not like I hand the ball off to Trey. We're a very good rushing team, which is a great thing. But when Lamar hands the ball off, everybody's like, you take it, you can relax. Josh hands the ball off. You know what I mean? So I think for us, part of an emphasis going into the next season is conceptually on time. I feel like I'm one of the best in the league. Mm-hmm. I think where we get better is, making things happen outside the pocket when plays break down. I think we need to be better there. You look at Josh. I watched Josh and I watched Lamar. I watched the tape. Even Burrow does a really good job of making things happen when things break down. But that's where a lot of money's made. You know what I mean? Is scramble drill and making people hurt, making people pay when the play breaks down. And I think that's something that we didn't do very well. And I think we're very capable, especially with my ability to make things happen.
Okay, Kyle Murray. Matthew could have used that last year.
Yes, Matthew could have very much used that last year. That's why Ride or Die was more die than ride, because he just didn't run.
Not deceased, though.
No, not deceased. He was fine. He ended up being a top 10 quarterback. Ultimately, just didn't.
It's like a C+.
Exactly. He was fine. He didn't kill you.
Yeah.
It wasn't a home run pick the way the previous ones have been, and it was all about the rushing, right? Career low 4.6 rush attempts per game last year. Had only 17% of the team's red zone rushes, just 7% of the goal-to-go rushes. Both of those also career lows. And it's weird because when he did run, he was effective. He actually averaged 7.3 yards per carry. That was a career high. But they just didn't do it a lot, and I think there was a couple of reasons for it. Number one is they have a ton of trust in James Conner. Lawrence and I actually at the Combine, we talked to one of the people on the Cardinals offensive staff, and we asked him about this directly. We had a kind of off-the-record conversation, and just basically, and it was a lot of what he just alluded to, what Kyler, they were nervous about the knee, that they didn't feel like he was fully healthy there. They were being overly protective of the knee. And they love James Conner. Real talk, they love James Conner in the goal line. They feel like if they get in close and they give it to James Conner, they're scoring. So I think those two things just sort of manifested itself. But it's good to hear that Kyler feels 100% healthy and that they're going to run more. And certainly the sources that I talked to at Arizona certainly emphasize that as well, that they think that they recognize that was a missing piece of their offense last year, and they're going to make more of an emphasis to try to do designed runs around Kyler.
Would you run it back?
Is my ride or die?
Like knowing what we talked about at the Combine, then hearing that, It's like that's in.
That's a great question. Should I be look? That
would be first.
That would be amazing if I did that. If I just owned it, I'm like, look, ride or die means ride or die. I have to ride this out until I can
truly die.
Right.
Look, you. Marvin
Probably
Harrison Jr. a little better, So.
All right, well, another ride or die candidate. Tutu Atwell, who
on the short list.
He's on the short list.
Will be on the field a lot more next season. Connor, do you think that this means anything or just coach speak?
No, because they have Devontae Adams in town now. There's two things here. One, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are on this team, right? So that's a lot of targets right there. And credit to Tutu Atwell. He's been a better NFL player than I ever expected at that size. He's a complete outlier. But you need to be able to block in this offense to be on the field. Puka's excellent at that. Cooper Kupp's been really good at that before he left. And Devontae will be serviceable at that, where that limits how often Atwell could be on the field.
The only counter I'll say to that is last year, the Rams used 11 personnel on 82% of their plays last season. That was the third highest rate in the NFL. And we have seen over the last 2 years moments of fantasy relevancy for Demarcus Robinson. You also add in the fact that Devontae Adams on the other side of 30. Puka Nacua has dealt with injuries throughout his career. And so do I want to build my draft strategy around Tutu Atwell? No, I do not. But do I think there are worse last round in the draft picks than Tutu Atwell? Yeah, best ball makes a ton of sense, but also in a deeper league. I'm just saying I think you can go ahead and clip this. I bet you there will be weeks during this upcoming season that we are talking about free agency and we're like, hey, Tutu Atwell's out there in 56% of leagues, and you should pick him up.
Okay, last note for us before we hit our break. Julio Jones announced his retirement. Lawrence Jackson is repping.
Julio.
Fantasy legend.
Hey, man, one of the best. How many guys out there have a 300-yard game besides, like, Calvin Johnson?
Yep.
Julio, ATL, GOAT.
Okay.
7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, ranks 5th in NFL history in receiving yards, fantasy superstar. Much love to Julio Jones on his retirement.
Last call next.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.